Alright, beating you here. We're going to go over the PvP arena build right now. As you can already see by my bar, we switched to magic shot. Reason being the 2-second wind up for sniper shot was just too long. Healers were able to heal through it. Other classes were able to silence you as you're casting it or interrupt it. So it led just to really inconsistent burst. And just like your positioning would be weird because you'd be there for too long. So it's a little bit different than the closed beta. In the closed beta, I had a lot of success with the sniper build. For whatever reason, whether it be the DPS increase or just I don't know, maybe the caliber of player, sniper shot just feels really bad in arena. Before I get into it though, just talking about arena, what matters is literally nothing, honestly. Like, your gear doesn't matter. The only thing that matters are your ultimates and your skill build. For talents, we're running this. Rapid shot, always good. Steady shot, doing more damage, good. Since it's a standardized crit, as far as we can tell, we increase our base crit. That's really important. As far as I know, it's your gear and everything is standardized per class. So no other like ranger is going to have more HP, damage, anything than you. It's all standardized. So we take the crit because we need it. I don't take this because I just don't think it's worth it. The wind up of casting 2 in a row. Like, they're already in their full DPS rotation. Someone could be dead by the time you cast 2 steady shots. Like, just to be honest. I like this a lot, making them take 2 more damage. When you pop your corrosion arrow and get max stacks of stability, then obviously you get 4 arrows, right? So going back to this, 4 arrows, 4 arrows at 2% damage. You know, you can do the math on that. And then if you have your inscribed stone, it doubles, right? So not many fights last until the inscribed stone, but if you do have a long-winded fight and you have this and then you hit your inscribed stone, it's a little bit nutty. This explosive arrow, just a little bit of added DPS. I think it's better than the scatter shot damage. But it's up to you. I could see how you might run scattershot over this, but I think this is just better burst. Magic arrow, we're not going to even go into this. Like, if you take magic arrow, you have to take all of these. I'm not going to go into all the different things. But, you know, it is what it is. All right. Final arrow is always your must-have. 45% more damage to people below 25% health. Usually when we're synchronizing our DPS, my big burst is coming as they get to this HP. Like, the other player's burst and my rapid shot get him to around 25%, and then your magic arrow gets this buff. Going down here, we're trying to, like, I understand this seems like bad. Like, I really do. Like, I understand how you could see this as bad. But I'm trying to get my corrosion arrow up as fast as possible. Because if they don't die in the first burst, the sooner you can do your second round of burst, the better. So even if this only takes off 2-3 seconds, it seems to make a noticeable difference for me. Again, it's a talent tree build, right? So you can kind of fuck around with it however you like. But I do think these make a difference. If like, I notice it for sure. So yeah, that's the skill tree. We'll go into ultimates next. Again, anytime you want to see your ultimates, you go into the V screen, warlike talent. This shows you everything you can get. I'm running break 3. So firing disruption is a must. Like, no matter what, you have to have this. Most classes, I think every class has either a stun or a silence or some kind of snare or some shit, some kind of CC. So like, you stagger CCing somebody is huge. I've been playing with a fire mage, so he usually initiates the silence because he's, you know, stacking his DPS, and then when he's about to burst, then I silence, and so on and so forth. Break free is mandatory for all the shadow warriors and paladins and all this, literally all this crap. Also, if someone tries to silence you during your burst and someone is low, I will pop this. So like, if in a like mirror matchup, if the ranger silences me as I'm trying to burst their healer, I'm pressing break free. Like, I'll trade my, even if it's like, if I die later, it's fine, because I'm going to trade my life for the healer's life. Because if the healer dies, you should always win. So I run break free. The big one that I never thought I would use, but I use infinitely, is hunting trap. This thing is fucking broken, bro. I don't care what anyone says. Let's see. So this is the animation, right? It looks pretty small. Once you proc it, it probably goes like this circle. So it's a pretty big circle around. It probably gets 50% bigger when it procs. And if when you click on it, does a knockout and creates an icy mist. So the first person gets knocked out, which who the fuck knows what that means? I mean, they're CC'd, they're stunned, but when we go into the other talent tree, I'll show you why. I don't know what it actually is considered, but they get knocked out, so they're stunned, and then anyone around it gets slowed. So sometimes, if the healer stands still to heal himself, I'll even drop it on the healer, knock him out, silence him, and through that whole time I'm doing burst. I think Hunting Trap is unbelievably good. Against the Shadow Warriors, so good. Paladin, and like the double melee comps, it is absolutely obscene. It doesn't feel as good against the mages, but the mages will blink on top of you sometimes to do their full combo, like their full DPS potential. So you can drop it on yourself when a mage jumps on you. Again, it doesn't feel as effective in the double range comps, but with how prevalent Shadow Warriors are and Paladins, I honestly think these two are must-haves. And then if you don't want to run break free and you have a lot of faith in your healer, or your healer's running a CC break, you can do this for something else. But these two, I almost think are necessary. I mean, this one, Fire Disrupting 100%. Like, you have to run that in Arena. This, I think, is your next best bet. The issue I was finding with the push, where is it? Fast arrows, where it's a push and immobilize, is they just blink on you. Like, there's so many classes have a leap or a blink, and yeah, it feels terrible. Like, you use this ultimate, you think you're going to be safe, and then they're right on top of you again. This, at least, not only CCs them with, like hard CCs them with a knockout, but as you're creating space for yourself, they're also slowed. So it just seems better than everything. If you want to run just like a pure kill, like you're gonna trade your life for the healer's life or another DPS's life, you can run Tripwire. It's a stun. It's good. It's definitely good. It's just the meta right now is to burst healer or to burst ranger. So this provides you with infinite defensive. So that's the skill tree and the ultimates. Those are the big ones, honestly. So because we're running, sorry, 1 second. Because we're running this, reduces cooldowns by 15%, you have to pop your 6 before you press anything else. In a normal rotation, I usually press Corrosion Arrow first, then Hunter's Heart. But with this build and these talents, you have to press 6 first. So usually what I do is everyone's trying to jump me, right? So I sit in Narnia. Like, I'm literally in Narnia behind this pillar. Our mage goes forward, and when they open up on the mage is when I start to move. Because if they use their movement on the mage, then I feel really safe. And if the mage gets low, I'll just run up to the mage, drop my knockout on him, and then he can blink out and, do whatever. But in a perfect world, I'm sitting really far back. Where that ice thing is actually where our mage would be, right? So they open up on him. Usually the healer walks forward. I walk towards the healer. I press 6. I press 4. I go into rapid, into magic, into this, and then you just repeat this combo. Obviously, that's just a DPS combo without using any ultimates, right? Really what you're going to do is, as he walks forward, you're 6ing, you're 4, you're silence, and then you're going into the combo. I just pressed the wrong button. Boop, boop. And you just kind of run it like that. on repeat. Usually, as soon as that happens, the healer's running off, right? And then it's just me and the mage on the healer trying to burst him before they kill our healer. Or if we see the healer use all his cooldowns, we'll turn back on the DPS, hit the DPS, and then as the healer walks forward again, we silence the healer, stay on the DPS, and kill him. Coordinating your burst and your silences is paramount. It's going to be what wins or loses you the game. But like I said, as far as strategies, we'll go into strategies right now. So strategies, if you see another ranger on the other team, that's who you're going to kill. Like, it became really clear to me as we were doing arenas that everyone was pressuring me, and when they were pressuring me, I literally only have two things I can do, right? Like, I'm going to CC break, I'm going to drop the trap, and then I'm running, and then I'm waiting for the healer to tell me I'm good, and then I'm going to turn and try and counter aggression their DPS, and get them low so they have to move back and we can get momentum. It feels really bad when the ranger gets opened up on in arena. That's why I sit all the way in the back. So if you can get your other player to absorb the initial pressure, that's the way to go. Like, have him absorb the initial pressure. Make the healer walk up. As soon as the healer walks up, you go into, again, just your rotation of 6, 4, R, 3, 2, 1, 1, 5, 2, 1, right? That's the whole rotation. And then again, like I said, if their DPS comes back and turns on you, that's fine. That means your healer's unpressured, so you can keep the pressure on their healer. If their DPS does not come back to help, you can stay on the healer until he uses all his big cooldowns, and then turn on the DPS that are over here, right? So look how far that healer has to run to get over here. He might even have to burn his defensives to get over here. But let's say, like, he's over there, right? He's low. He used all his big cooldowns. Now we're going to hit this DPS. If we get the DPS below half health, then as the healer runs up, we silence the healer, and then we continue our burst on the DPS, and the DPS dies. It's one of those things where you just have to get the experience and know who's going to die. And I don't count cooldowns per se, because I don't play every class, so I don't know all the cooldowns by heart. But based on what they're using, determines what you're going to stay on. Like, if that healer uses his blink to get over here, let's say I miss my silence, right? So I miss my silence on the healer. He blinks, he gets over here, he full heals the DPS. Then we immediately go back on the healer. This time we're going to silence the healer because I'm not going to miss it the second time. So we silence the healer, go through our whole DPS rotation, and now the healer has no big cooldowns because he used them on the DPS. So that's your general strategy. Is you want to pressure ranger is your first prio, then healer. Another big thing in arena is the initial engagement. So sometimes I'll even silence, like, let's say they have a mage or another ranger. I'll burn my silence on the ranger so he can't do his rotation. I'll go through my full rotation on the ranger, pressuring him. Like I said, rangers are the easiest thing to kill, so our number one priority is killing the ranger. So I'll silence the ranger, go through my whole rotation on the ranger. Now he's at, 25, 30% HP. The healer's using all his burst to heal the ranger, and we have a lot of pressure. They're down on all their cooldowns. The ranger is moving, so he doesn't have any stability up. He might still have his corrosion arrow up because I silenced him. But, whatever. You should have way more momentum than them at that point. So the first engagement, really important. You could even silence the mage if you want. I don't think silencing the mage is most optimal, but if you have a bunch of stacks on you and shit like that, like, you need to silence the mage. But first engagements is definitely you all in the healer with your silences and shit like that, or if it's a ranger, you all in the ranger with your silence and all that stuff. In a perfect world, like I silence the ranger, burst him. The mage silences the healer, so he can't heal him back up to full on command. And then you just kind of after that, it's just free balling and just communicating and kind of knowing what your cooldowns do, how much damage you can do, stuff like that. As far as arena goes, like if you're struggling on ranger, don't be sad about it. Honestly, ranger is definitely not S tier, or I don't even know if it's A tier. Honestly, if it is A tier, it's at the very bottom of A tier. It's just our damage is good. It's just compared to the other classes, like your shadow warriors, your mages, stuff like that. They're tankier with the same amount of damage. It's just they even have heal cut, so it's just like if they get on top of you, there's a really, really, really good chance you die. Definitely learn how to LOS stuff around the pillars, stuff like that. Like when someone's chasing me around the pillar, definitely I drop ice trap and then I sit on the other side of the pillar. Be aware of your surroundings because this guy's going to be stunned for like 3 seconds and then slowed. So if you're just mindlessly going around the pillar, like you might just run into him again, right? So like drop it, see where their DPS is, use your right click, like look around, see where they are, and just LOS them. Your healer should be able to keep you up after that. And the whole time while he's stunned and stuff like that, like, you know, like let's say they immediately jump on me. This is my pillar. You know, I'm going to immediately drop ice when they jump on me. And then I'm going to drop corrosion arrow on them, right? And then I'm hitting them as I'm moving back to try and get some counter pressure up. And then kind of just seeing where everything is. The good thing is usually when they all in you like this and they're around the pillar, most of the time the healer is around here. So now I have free line to the healer to pressure the healer. So a lot of times that's what I'll do. What we try to do against the Shadow Warriors is we silence them so they can't do their initial burst, kind of CC them right at whatever here, and then the other person silences the healer, and then I go through my DPS rotation on the Shadow. So that way the Shadow kind of has to pull back. If he doesn't pull back, he might be fine or he might not. Like we've had a couple of matchups where the Shadow stays in, and then he just dies for it. And then we've had other matches where the Shadow stays in and we die for it. And then we've had matches. It's really just like there is a lot of skill in it, but there's so much RNG, you know, because if I get all crits on my DPS rotation, like there's a pretty good chance that guy's just dead anyways. And the same thing vice versa. You know, if the Shadow gets his crit on me, like I'm probably just dead. Like it feels bad in that way that there's some things that are out of your hands. Like you could be try-harding way more than the other team, and they just get just one additional thing. And with the way the burst is in this game, it's really hard to come back from. You definitely don't want to quit. Like you can come back from it, but you know it just is what it is. So again, I think that's everything. Just in review, we'll do one more DPS, right? So we're going to start with 6, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you're going to silence somewhere in between there. Like I said, I like to start off with a silence, but it depends on, you know, your other player. Like you just stagger your CCs, so whenever your other guy's CC is about to end, you use yours. So, you know, sometimes your guy's going to start it, sometimes you'll start it. Just communicate who's using what CC and when. Using them both at the same time feels terrible. So again, that's just your DPS rotation, right? Priorities are always Ranger, then Healer. After that initial, you know, engagement where those are your priorities, then you just kind of have to see what happens. But always engage on the Ranger first. Like Ranger should be your #1 priority to kill because the lack of defenses and how squishy they are. And then Healer for obvious reasons. Yeah, so that should be about it. If you have any other questions or anything, obviously ask them in the comments. You go in the Tarisland Ranger Discord, ask. But I think that should help you guys out a lot. Again, don't get frustrated with Ranger in arena. It just is the way it is. We're not trash tier, but we're not S tier. So when you fight these try hard meta comps, you're going to have to try hard, incredibly armpits, just pure sweat guzzling out of them. Like, you're going to have to try really hard to beat some of these meta comps because other classes do outshine Ranger in many ways. So don't get frustrated with it. Have fun with it. Find a pre-made that isn't going to flame you for getting one shot because sometimes it's unavoidable. There's just nothing you can do about it. But in the matchups, you can win. Easily, definitely pressure the Ranger, pressure the healer, stagger your CCs. We still have unlimited burst for sure. And I guess on the final note, so I already discussed it, but again, you run Magic Shot in Arena. Your ability to, 6, 4, 3, like this whole time I'm moving through all of this. Like, it's so much better. You can always have yourself in a better position because you're always moving. Like before, again, just with Sniper Shot before, this was our distance, we'll say. And then you're sniper shotting here, right? And let's say the sniper shot goes off, it hits them, whatever. By this point, they're probably all the way over here. They're going to blink, they're going to use the defensive, and look how far I have to run, and this whole time I'm losing stability. Snipe shot, unfortunately, feels terrible in arena. If you're in, shit elo, maybe you can make it work, but Magic Shot is going to be infinitely better at all times. In Battlegrounds and stuff like that, run the sniper build, do a lot of damage, have fun, look at the freaking 18k crits you can hit. In Battlegrounds, there's just more players, so there's less people pressuring you. You can always tab target to someone closer and not lose any stability. Battlegrounds, definitely do whatever you want, have fun with it. If you're trying to win in arenas and get your rank up, you just gotta run Magic Shot. It's the only thing you can do. But yeah, that's everything. As always, appreciate you guys. Appreciate the support. If there's anything else I can do to help, definitely, like I said, drop a comment. At me in the Tarisland Ranger Discord, and I'll try to help. But this is what we're running right now, and it feels infinitely better. So I think if you run this and then have your own preferences included, I think you'll have a much better time in arena and be less likely to rage quit. Because I was definitely trying to rage quit a couple of times 2 days ago. It felt terrible. GG's, y'all. Take care, and see you in the battlefield.